Well, hello and welcome to this latest video. This is the start of a new series of videos on HTML. So this is part 1, the introduction to HTML. What is HTML? Well, HTML is a language to describe the building blocks, the parts of a document. That's what HTML is. So, for example, it describes things like the header, the paragraph, the lists, the quotes, this type of thing, the sorts of things that you would find in an academic document. Okay, all right, and it's a method to create and share text documents on computer systems. Initially, it was created without images and things like that, but that was added later. And it was created by a gentleman called Sir Tim Berners-Lee between 1980 and 1990 at CERN. I believe the first release was 1991, but he was working on various different forms of the project between 1980 and 1990. Okay, HTML actually stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, so the markup language are the tags. These are the elements which specify what goes where in the page. Okay, and there are various tags. Now, most of the tags contain information. For example, the paragraph tag will start a paragraph and end a paragraph, for example. So most of the tags will contain information within the opening and closing tag, and you can also give the tag, you can put more information into the tag itself, for example, a class or an ID or something like this, in virtually all of the tags. Okay, it's been updated a number of times. We are now on HTML5, so there's been quite a few updates on this, and there is now a body which actually overlooks the standard of HTML, and it's called the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C for short. Okay, right. Normally you would use CSS, and in fact the World Wide Web Consortium actually encourages the use of CSS for design items, okay, for the presentational side, whereas the tags are there to delineate sections, basically. Okay, so what's this course about? Okay, we're going to introduce most of the major tags and minor tags in HTML, what they do, how they do it, that type of thing, and how to use them. So you'll also learn the current best practices. Now, best practices change over time. And for example, when I started, all the tags were in uppercase. Now they're all in lowercase. So things do change. Okay. You'll be introduced to bug hunting, how to find little problems within your code, but that will be a lot further on. And to follow along, you'll need to have a text editor. Now, it could be Windows Notepad if you really want, or Notepad++, which would be even better. But if you've been following along with this series, you'll have Atom and NetBeans installed. And initially, we will start with Atom and we'll move to NetBeans later. Okay, and you'll need some sort of web server. Now, initially, we're going to use the web server inside Atom that we installed as a plugin. But later we'll use LAMP or XAMPP, depending on which computer system you have. Okay, so let's start with the very basic tags. And to do that, we need to set up a directory structure. Now, if you remember, I mentioned that Dropbox, that we need a folder in Dropbox called www, and then a folder inside that called tutorial. And we're going to start, as I say, a new set of tutorials. So we're going to call this HTML. Okay, so HTML, and inside HTML, I want another folder called HTML1. Okay, so we now have our folder structure, and you can see it at the top here. Okay, so if I do that, you can see it probably better. Okay, so in Dropbox, www, tutorial, HTML, and HTML1. Okay, so what we now need to do is open Atom. And as you can see, we don't have anything installed on Atom, so we'll click on File, New File. Okay, and if we press Control and S on the keyboard, it will ask us where we want to save it. So we'll click on Dropbox, www, tutorial, HTML, HTML1, and we'll call this index.html. Now, the default page for any website is called index. Okay, and the default extension is for HTML pages is HTML. Most web servers will also accept HTM, but it's always best practice to use HTML. Notice it's all in lowercase, so index.html. Okay, so we'll click on Save, and by doing so, the system now knows that this is Atom, that is, knows that it's an HTML file. Okay, so what are the very, very basic tags in HTML? Well, we're just going to cover the very basic ones for now, okay, and later on we'll go into some more of the complex ones. Now, a tag is opened with a less than sign, and as you can see, autocomplete has come up, but I shall just type in HTML, and closed with the greater than sign. And for every tag you open, you also need to close that tag. So you want a less than sign, a /, the tag name again, and then the greater than sign. So we now have an opening tag, HTML, and a closing tag. And what this is doing is it's telling our browser to expect HTML text within these tags. Okay, so we now need to give some more information about the system. Okay, so each section has a head. Okay, so again, head, and of course you need to close it, so we close it like that. So less than sign, head, greater than sign, a blank line, then less than sign, / head, okay, and then greater than sign. Now inside the head we will put the title of our page. So again, okay, we open it like that, and you can put in my first web page. Okay, and of course we need to close it. Okay, now there are lots of other items you can actually put in the head section, but really what you need is the title. That is the main part. Okay, later we will look at what other items we can put into the head section. So we can actually run this in a moment, and we'll have a look at what it does. But before we run it, we actually need to have something to display, something to show. So just below the closing head tag, we need to open another tag, and this is called body. So less than sign, body, greater than sign, and again we need a blank line, and then we follow it with the closing tag. Okay, just like that. Okay, so there we go. Oops, that's better. Right, so we now have an HTML page, okay, with the main attributes. We're telling it it's HTML. We've got a head tag, we've got something in the head tag, we've got an opening body tag and a closing body tag. Now, if we actually run the web server, okay, it should start the server, and it is always a good idea if I save. Okay, so to save the file, here you press Ctrl+S, or you can click on File and Save. Okay, let's just open Google Chrome, and it's trying to load it at the moment. Okay, so it's now loaded the web page. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing in the body. We didn't create anything in the body, but we do have our title, and as you can see, it's on the tag. Okay, if you right click in the blank area of the page, you can have a look at View Page Source. Okay, a new tab will open, and you can see that here we go. There's our title, our head and our body. Live Server has put some information into here. We don't need to worry about what this is, okay? But here's our body, and ending HTML. Okay, so if I just move this over like that, and where are we? Click on there. So let's put something in the body. We don't need a tag to show anything in the body, so the standard one is hello world. So I've just typed hello world. I'll press Ctrl+S, and if we have a look at our page, you can now see hello world is printed on the page. This is because all web browsers have a set of defaults in how to display everything. Okay, each web browser is very slightly different, but they have a set of defaults. So if you don't have any tags enclosing your information, then it will just use the defaults. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, now one of the most important tags that you'll come across is the P tag, and that stands for paragraph. So I've opened the paragraph, and as you can see at the end, I've closed the paragraph. We can just get rid of some of that spaces. I'll press Ctrl+S, and we'll look at the web page. Computer is very, very slow today. Okay, so we can see, we'll just do a quick refresh. It should have refreshed, but as you can see, there's absolutely no difference in the way it's displayed. And if we have a look at the source, you'll see we have the P tags on the source. Okay, so most important ones. Okay, HTML to start and HTML to close, head tag to give you information about the document, and don't forget to close it. The body tag, this is where anything you want to display on your HTML page is displayed. Okay, and the P tag sets things in paragraphs. So let's just add another paragraph. Okay, don't forget to close it. Okay, so let's just put that in. Oops, does help if I. Okay, right. So hello world from my first web page. So we'll save that and we'll look, and as you can see, we've got a second paragraph, okay, below the first paragraph. Okay, now if we didn't have the paragraph tags, what would happen would be this would be printed all on one line. So just to show you that, I'm going to remove the paragraph tags. Okay, even though okay, I shall save it and we'll have a look at that. And as you can see, even though in the code they're on 2 lines, in the browser they're all on 1 line. This is because you need tags. You need to tell the browser where you want to put things. Okay, so I'll just put that back and okay, and I'll save that so we're back to normal. Remember, Control+S saves. Okay, so now that we've created our first file, we'll need to move it into Git. Okay, so what you do is down at the bottom, you'll see there's the plus sign and it says one file. If you click on it, what happens is you get the Git page up. Now you can see the file that we have, and I've actually clicked on it, and you can see in green these are the unstaged changes. Okay, that's what happens when you click on it. So we need to stage it because there's no changes at the moment. So if you click on stage all, you'll see that it comes down into here. We can now close the unstaged changes. Okay, right. So next we need to give a commit message. So I've actually written a commit message, created HTML, which was the folder we created, HTML1, which was the second folder we created inside it, and then the file name index.html. Okay, so we'll commit to master, and that has committed it to the master. We now need to push it up to GitHub. So if you come down to the bottom here, you'll see there's one that says push 1. So if you click on it, it should start pushing it up to GitHub. Okay, and that's it. It's all finished. We now have our new file saved on GitHub. If we open Google Chrome, okay, we've logged into GitHub. We can have a look at our repository, and as you can see, we now have a new folder showing HTML1, and here's the commit message that we gave. Okay, so if we click on the folder, you can see that inside there we have our index.html, and if you click on it, you can actually see the contents of the file. We can go back through each folder. Okay, so everything is now on Git. So you've got 2 copies of this. You've got, well, 3 copies of this. You've got one on GitHub, you've got one in Dropbox, and you've got one on your computer. So it's less likely that you're going to lose your data. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you found it useful. Please remember to like and subscribe, and next time we'll look a little more deeply at some other tags and how to actually place things on the screen. My name's John.